What? You want some sort of clever intro thing? I'm just supposed to, like, be like a little dancing monkey, have some guy behind me playing music and I dance for your enjoyment like that? With an intro? Yeah, not gonna happen. It's funny because that was an intro, and I was saying I wasn't gonna make an intro. So, this week we're talking about things that we just don't get the hype, why it has so much hype, and maybe it doesn't deserve it, maybe we just don't like it that much, but for me, I think about it as like, yeah, I could talk about things I've mentioned before that I dislike, like Evangelion and Twilight, which, especially Twilight, they're just horrible things that just don't deserve the attention and popularity they get. Twilight's so horrible. Anyway, I thought about that, and it's like, yeah, I just kind of hate those, and I don't want to get in that, so, but I almost want to go with something that I think maybe is alright, but I just don't think it should be as popular as it is, and, you know, maybe I could talk about things like One Piece, Naruto, that I don't get into it, but, you know, like I always said, you're like, yeah, the big ones, but those ones, like, and I like Bleach and Full Metal, and I mention those all the time, well, Full Metal especially I mention all the time, but I like those. Maybe Bleach, I think, is going too long and stuff, but I figure I'm going to go a little bit off the path, not really off topic, but sort of go a little bit out of otaku-dom for this one, and I apologize, and I might get haters for what I'm going to say here, but I think Pixar is overrated. I said it. And people are going to get their torches and stuff and their pitchforks and have an angry mob and come to my castle on the mountaintop and sing a song about killing the beast. No, wait, that's Beauty and the Beast. People will post comments saying they hate me, maybe, if they disagree. But basically, yeah, I mean, I don't think Pixar is bad. Most of the stuff they've made I've enjoyed, but people act like, I mean, it's not even, it's manna from heaven, it's like, it's creme brulee from heaven, this Pixar movies to these people, and I think I mentioned this before. But there's this stigma out there that some people are like, Twilight, blah, Twilight's horrible, people like it. People think that Pixar can just do no wrong. Every movie that comes out from Pixar is the greatest thing they've ever seen. And it's like, I don't think it's that good. Like, yeah, I enjoyed WALL-E, I enjoyed Up, and thought they were pretty good movies and stuff, but they were just these little animated movies, and yeah, there's some depth there. And Pixar kind of started this whole, like, CGI movie thing, but you know what? Pixar didn't start the whole thing with animated films that cater to adults as well, because the way Pixar does it is, it's a kid's movie, and it has some depth and adult... Something just fell off the table in my room. Has some depth and some jokes that adults get and kids won't necessarily get, and it kind of, you know, throws something in there for adults, and they weren't the first ones to cater to adults in their movies, and I think, like, first thing that comes to my mind is, something like Miyazaki films, which I'm not going to be the Miyazaki version of these Pixar-loving people, because he's made some amazing films, but I thought Baby Ponyo was a little weak. I mean, it was still good, but it wasn't like the greatest thing ever. And the thing that really made me start thinking about this was Toy Story 3 getting the Best Picture nomination, which, it was good, I saw it, I enjoyed it. I don't necessarily think it was Best Picture of 2010 quality, and just there's a category for animated films, and I do think that, like, animation and anime and things like that should be looked at with the same lens necessarily as you look at live action films, but I don't know, and I don't think that I've even seen some of the other Best Picture nominees, but I'm sorry, with Toy Story 3, it's sort of the same thing they did in the first movie and the second movie. It's like, toys go out and have an adventure and get there in the end, and things change for them, and it's sort of like the same formula with all three movies, only with a different story, if that makes sense. And if you think the Lord of the Rings movies, the same style and you got Return of the King, you got Two Towers, you got Fellowship of the Ring. Fellowship came first, and the movies they're made at the same time, same cinematic style, same actors, a lot of the same themes, kind of the dark elements in there and stuff, and they're all really well done. And by the time we saw Return of the King, it was the same story, and the story carried us. And Toy Story 3 is sort of like the completion of the trilogy, 3 stories coming together. But again, it's sort of like the same old thing, and even though some of the other trilogies are like that, just the story didn't really carry. It's like, oh yes, it's sad, spoiler, spoiler, spoiler. Things change in our lives and like that. And it just didn't carry as much. It was the 3rd movie in the franchise, and same thing, but a lot of that, just the humor and stuff in it, is you could tell it's a kid's movie still. You could, as an adult, watch it and enjoy it, but I'm sorry, Toy Story 3 is no Spirited Away. Spirited Away, much better. And some people might disagree with me, but I'm getting on a Toy Story tangent here when I should be talking that Pixar, didn't Cars? It didn't do it for me. I watched it, I laughed at it, but that was good for me. It's a movie about NASCAR cars. Wow. And it's this thing too where if you start thinking about it, it's let's make a movie about bugs that have lives and they talk. That's been done a few times. Let's do cars. Let's do toys. It's sort of like they're thinking about the next thing to anthropomorphize. I don't know if that's a word and if I'm pronouncing it right, but you kind of get what I'm saying here, that they make good movies and they're enjoyable, but it's not as good as people say. I've probably enjoyed all the Pixar films. I even enjoyed Cars, even though I just thought it was the weakest of all their films, and it's why? And that kind of makes me mad too, because I kind of want How to Train Your Dragon to win the Oscar for Best Animated Film. But Toy Story 3 is not only nominated for Best Animated Film, but Best Picture overall. And since it's nominated for both, what film do you think is going to win the Best Animated category, since none of those ones were nominated for the main one? It's what's the point of even doing that? And I'm getting frustrated. I just thought, I kind of like How to Train Your Dragon better. I just thought it was a little more interesting. It was based on a book. I haven't read the book, and I know they went different from the book, but a little bit different, and just more of a creation of a world and things like that. And I should start to cut this off before we go too long, but yeah, I don't get the hype about Pixar. I see why people like it, but it isn't as good as the raving lunatic fans, which not all of them are raving lunatics, but it seems like it's just short of rabid fandom with some people, and it's not that good. I'm sorry. It's good. It's not that good. And that's what this video is about, I suppose. See you guys later.